Welcome. This is the Haku Dude. This is Haku EDC. And if this is your first time visiting, you're going to be in for a thrill. If you visited here before, everything here seems to be improving with each new video. Today is Friday, and so we're going to do a SAK Friday, which means that we will review Swiss Army knives or some of its alternatives. Today we're going to do something a little different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what are the best and worst valued Swiss Army knives. So hang around till the end. I'm going to talk about a possible giveaway that you want to be involved with. So let's get started. Value is a subjective item, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think makes something valuable for me. Now, with Swiss Army knives, I think of the value about how I use it, how much it costs, and then what other things that I can do with it. So I'm going to start off with what are the most valuable ones to me that bring the most amount of value. But I'm going to say it could be different. You need to think about, do you need a knife? Do I need scissors? How about a saw? Is it something that makes you want to touch it or something that makes you want to least touch it? And there are some things that I just think if all you really want is sort of a basic knife, then for most people, then the is an excellent Swiss Army knife. It is going to be about $20 to $25 generally speaking for most people, compared to something like the SD Classic, which is the 58 millimeter one, which is going to cost you like 50% more, $10 more. So you want something that's basic, this is it. Just get a Bantam. It's really nice. But let's say you want something that can be helpful to you and others for a bunch of times that you are around. One of the things that people would say on Reddit or on multitool.org and other places, get a compact. Well, a compact is really nice. A compact comes with your cap lifter, a little bit of a screwdriver here, a nice knife, a great pair of scissors. It has plus scales, which means it has tweezers, toothpick, and pin. Oh, PIN. It also has a little corkscrew that allows you to unscrew this, and you get a little, what I would call an eyeglass screwdriver. And it comes with a pin, PIN, in this little area here. I don't know if you can see that. Oops, there's a little pin in there that I have in there. I usually have a different kind of pin in here, but I wanted to put in the original one so that you see what it looks like. I think that there are a number of Swiss Army knives that bring you more value. I think a lot about the Climber and the Tinker, the Super Tinker. Now, they're going to be thicker because they have an extra layer. So the Compact has 2 layers, the Tinker and the Climber have 3 layers. And because of that, 3rd layer, you end up getting an extra knife, and you end up getting a can opener. Now, is a can opener important? Who knows? I think that the can opener is less important, but having this little screwdriver here that you can use for Phillips and other small screwdrivers is really a good idea. So that's the extra thing that it comes with. And on the Tinker, you have your Phillips. So you have a really nice Phillips screwdriver. This is what I would say is much more of an urban, suburban tool. Now, I'm the kind of person that does camping. I like to do camping. So with camping, I say that these two tools are exactly the same. This one happens to have a stego outside of it, scale on it. But you should get a scale that looks like this for most people, just a regular. And it has everything except for it has a corkscrew. And with that corkscrew, if you wanted to add that little bitty piece here for your eyeglasses, you could do that on your corkscrew. For both of these, I've added a little bit of tinder because when I go camping, I just have a little tinder just in case it's a little bit more moist or rainy, or it's a little harder to start a fire. Just throwing a little bit of tinder really helps things out. Or I get there late and I want to start it quickly, a fire that is. So that's what you have. But having that extra knife is very handy. And that's why I think is one of the reasons why these two are more of a value than these two. The other thing is, this one typically sells for around $60, which is not a bad price, but these typically sell for around $45. So you're getting about $15 difference in the red celluloid version. So for me, this one, if it was in the red version, would be of greater value than the compact is. Because I don't have one. Well, I do have one, but it's old. This one here, for me, is really the most valuable one because it has all the tools that I need to have. It doesn't have anything extra. I don't need a saw, for instance, less likely to need a saw than I was previously. Now, if I needed a saw, I would definitely go to a Huntsman or Filmmaster, which are basically these two things with a saw. The Filmmaster is basically this with a saw. The Huntsman is basically this with a saw. And even those two, the Filmmaster and Huntsman, which would be, I think, is one of the reasons why these two are more of a value than these two. The other thing is, this one typically sells for around $60, which is not a bad price, but these typically sell for around $45. So you're getting about $15 difference in the red celluloid version. So for me, this one, if it was in the red version, would be of greater value than the compact is. Because I don't have one. Well, I do have one, but it's old. This one here, for me, is really the most valuable one because it has all the tools that I need to have. It doesn't have anything extra. I don't need a saw, for instance, less likely to need a saw than I was previously. Now, if I needed a saw, I would definitely go to a Huntsman or Filmmaster, which are basically these two things with a saw. The Filmmaster is basically this with a saw. The Huntsman is basically this with a saw. And even those two, the Filmmaster and Huntsman, which would be, I think, about $5 more, would still be less than the compact. Generally speaking, that's why I prefer these as the most valuable, price-wise, function-wise, in the red cellular version. Now, we bought ALOX. ALOX ones are really nice. Some of my favorite SAKs are ALOX versions, and I'll do a video on those in the future. But price-wise and value-wise, you will get more functions with basically the same equipment with the red cellular ones than with the ALOX one. Well, people will come back to me and they say, well, the ALX ones are going to last longer. Look, lifetime guarantee. If something breaks, you send it back, they repair it. So that's not an issue. And these still last a long time, either way. So those are my most valued conscious purchases for Swiss Army knives and why. Tell me what yours is. Let me know in the comments. Do you have a disagreement that I have? Or are you looking at something else that you think is more valuable? I know the people that have told me get a Swiss champ $100 piece for what it does. There are a number of things on a Swiss champ that I don't use quite often enough to justify it with. It has my valued monetarily, spiritually, and use-wise Swiss Army knife. Now let's quickly go to the ones that I think have the least value for people. Now, the winner is actually one I no longer have. I did purchase it. I literally had it for 6 weeks because I wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to hold it in my hand and I wanted to talk to people about it, which I did. But I eventually, literally 2 months later, I got it. I sold it for what I purchased it for. So I basically rented it for 6 weeks and I no longer have it. I want to talk to you about my runners up. And my second runner up is the midnight, well, the mini champ. This happens to be a midnight mini champ, but just don't think about the light. Just think about it has a tool itself without the light. It does come with a lot of tools, and it comes with a pen, Pen, for writing with, and it does work. This one's a little tight here. It has a knife. This is one of my favorite tools on a SAK. It is the combo Phillips opener and wire stripper. Scissors. These are small, but I say small but powerful scissors. A cuticle pusher. Used to be called a pharmaceutical pill something. I forget what it's called, but now it's called the pusher for cuticle for fingernails area. A little screwdriver and ruler here. I don't know if you can see the ruler in here. Let me see here. Oh, let me see the ruler. This one's got centimeters and inches in it. A little hook. I call it a little hook knife, but it's basically a little hook for your cutting rope and things similar to that. You could actually cut cords with it if you get it in the little corner. This is called your emergency blade, or some people have call it a trach blade because you would see things on TV. Please get me a small blade to cut open the tracheotomy, and your fingernail cleaner and file. It's got a lot of things on it. Because it has a lot of things on it, it has a bunch of things that people really don't use. I mean, the cuticle pusher, the 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 rope cutting blade, or a couple examples, the ruler. Given that this is now $60, this is more expensive than any of these here. It's more expensive than a climber, it's more expensive than a Fillmaster, Huntsman. It's almost the same price as a compact. Now, and that's without the light. Now, the positive thing is it is small. It can go anywhere. It can go on a keychain without an issue. That's its claim to fame. But most of the tools here are not ones that people use quite often. That's why a Rambler in the 58 millimeter category is a much better value. Pretty much everyone will find a way to use every tool that's on a Rambler or even an SD Classic. But with this, who knows? That was second runner-up. The first runner-up is one that leads us to what is the actual worst one, value-wise, that I've had, at least. This one is the Ranger Grip 74, and I've had this one for a while, and I actually like it, and I am going to keep it. Its claim to fame, it's got a nice locking blade, and having a locking blade is great in multiple situations. So that's what I really like about this. It's huge. It's somewhat intimidating. It does come with your tweezers and your toothpick. I am surprised it doesn't come with a pen. It should. I mean, the scales on here are large enough to support a pen. P-E-N for sure. It comes with the opener layer tools here. But its claim to fame is actually the pliers on here. Now, these pliers, which I'm going to demonstrate for you now, are not very much worth it. Here's a bolt, a slightly larger than average bolt, but there's no way this can barely fit around. There's no way that's going to work for you. Now, if you were to get a cheap pair of pliers, cheap, less than 10 bucks, this will work. Or even something like this cheap one, another one that is less than 10 bucks. This little crescent will work. So you have something that is in the $10 range that will work much better than this. This one will cut a wire. I don't know if you can see in here. It's got a little wire cutter in here. And it's sufficient. Not great, but sufficient. And the needle nose are okay. The needle nose are slightly better than sufficient. But given the price of these are now, I think, 120 or something like this. I think when I bought it, it was like 78 or something like that, and they're now 120. So given what this has on it and what you're looking for, the big difference is you want something that has locking and these pliers. As I stated, these $10 pliers are just as good as the pliers and needle nose there. And if you were to use something like this with it, then you basically are spending approximately half the money and you get this pretty much. That's why this has a value proposition isn't very good. That's the Ranger Grip 74. Now, let's go on to the one which is the least value proposition in my opinion. And it's something that is made for a specific reason. Let me just adjust this. And that specific reason has to do with boating. It does come with what is called a shackle opener, a marlin spike. It is essentially this size here. So the 130, I think is what this is, millimeter size, if I'm correct. It weighs almost 11 ounces. So it is a heavy sucker. And the Victorinox Ranger boatman grip, it looks like this. I know a lot of people who have boats. I know a few people that have boatsmen. I don't know anyone who has a boatsman uses on their boat. The other implement that the boatman comes with is the marlin spike. The marlin spike has people have seen. It looks like a little spike, and it's great for untying ropes. They can also use a small pipe. They use pry bars to do that. They could also use these pliers, which are on the boatman, if they use them to actually work with some of the shackle removing products. The third thing that it comes with, which is not very useful, is a ruler. Ropes, shackles, other things on boats have specific measurements. But if you're on a boat for a while, you know what those measurements are. Just think about if you're a carpenter, you're building a house, or you're a mechanic, you're working on a car, so you will know the sizes. So a ruler is not as necessary as you would think it would be. The super positive things that it does have, it has this little nut wrench, and I'll show you what one looks like here. And this nut wrench fits in what would be the side, and then this has your thing to actually tighten or loosen your bolts and nuts. And that works really well, but there are just so many other possible items that you can use. The advantage that you would want to have on the boatsman is that all those things are in one place. But a lot of things, they just don't operate as well as you would like them to operate. That's what I would presume, just based upon how they're built. The last reason why I think that the boatman is just way out of whack value-wise is that a few years ago, it was, I think, $125. Now it's double that. It's $240 to get it. So it's kind of like the past 4 to 5 years, it's doubled in price. That the boatman is by far the least valuable tool that I've ever had in my hand. I can't say that I've ever used it, but that I've had in my hand. The ones that I've used would obviously be the Power Grip 74. Now, if you think that there are other sacks that you see out there that are least value latent, please let me know inside the comments. If you have something that is very value latent, please let me know inside the comments. Well, one more thing. If you're interested in being part of my giveaway, there's a video that I have. It's right up here, and I'm going to be giving away something on April 8th. And if you're interested, click on here and then just go through the video. If you're interested in just some more stuff around Swiss Army knives, click right up here and there will be a little video for that. This is Haku EDC. Please like, share, comment. I'll see you in the future.